Back here in the morning for loadout. I'll be heading home today. That's exciting. After 23 days on the road, I'll be heading home. But only for a day or two before we pack up and head to Salmon Arm. It never stops. The building that the Duncan showroom occupies used to be Phil Jane's hardware store, opened in 1909. That's cool. I thought the post office that we played at in the old post office in Powell River would be the oldest building on this tour. But no, this one's 30 years older than that. Noticing new things still about this crazy venue. Like this disembodied fridge door out front with words on it. A miscreant freeze by which this was never him. Through summer vision ask how was her hair. Huh, this is cool. In the alley beside the showroom there's a cool sort of historic photo collage of various local buildings, pictures from the 60s. This one's from 1970. Ooh, a 1950s parade float. Some cool stuff in here. Some really cool stuff. So the reason that it's called the Duncan showroom is that back when Longevity John started the showroom in the early 2000s, he had it in a different location, which had actually used to be a Ford showroom back in the day. He eventually moved up in the world and rented this much larger 1909 hardware store. He used to hold concerts upstairs before he gained access to downstairs in a much larger space for concerts. Such a incredible little venue. So it turns out Duncan has the world's largest hockey stick and puck. That's so cool. I actually remember when I was a little kid seeing this in the Guinness Book of World Records and being like, wow, it's in BC. Didn't even remember that it was here though until we literally drove by it. I like how they've even done the tape. So cool. We have arrived in Schwartz Bay, just waiting on the 10th ferry of the trip, and obviously the last one, to get us back to the mainland in Tsawwassen, and then we're going to drive back to Maple Ridge. Alright, we've made our way aboard the Spirit of Vancouver Island. The Spirit class ferries were built in the early 90s. I want to say 1992 it started sailing. It may be 91. I'm not caught up on all my facts. There's three of these ferries in the same Spirit class and or S class, and they're the three largest ferries that BC Ferries operates. And they were the flagship boats for BC Ferries up until about 1998-99 when they built those Pacific Cats ferries. But we don't talk about the fast cats here in BC. Shh, they're our little secret. Let's all pretend they never happened. Saying goodbye to Vancouver Island now. It's been an awesome few days we've gotten to spend on that island. More than a few days, couple of weeks. It would have been the 12th that we headed over to Campbell River. And so yeah, it's actually been more than 2 weeks on Vancouver Island. Excited to return to the mainland, back homeward. When BC Ferries started operating in 1960, this Sydney to Tsawwassen route was the very first one they ever operated. So as a result, BC Ferries wound up naming their first two boats that they ever built almost 60 years ago, the Queen of Tsawwassen and the Queen of Sydney. The Queen of Tsawwassen was eventually scrapped about 10-15 years ago. The Queen of Sydney, however, still sits rusting away in Mission, on the dock, not even on a dock, just on someone's property along the Fraser River in Mission, BC. It hasn't been used by BC Ferries in almost 20 years, and as a result still has the old 90s paint job, although it's rusted and faded over the years. Definitely a spot I'm going to visit at some point on this vlog. One of my favorite things, seeing that cool old boat every time I drive through Mission. Another boat we're passing here. I'm not sure which one this is, either the Main Queen or the Bowen Island Queen. I'm trying to zoom in on it. Not sure. It starts to creep me out when they get this close. It is the Main Queen, by the way, built in 1965, almost 30 years older than the boat we're on now. So there's the Tsawwassen Terminal we're pulling up to, and the boat watching continues. This is one of the coastal class ferries, about a solid 15 years newer than this one, but not quite as long, although I believe it may be a deck taller. Not sure. I've always loved the artwork on the side of the coastal class ferries. Really amazing. Okay. I believe this one's the Coastal Celebration. Or is that the Inspiration? I don't know. There's 3 different coastal class boats that all look very similar. Can't quite make out that name. Now I feel like I was wrong both times, and it's the Coastal Expedition. Just not sure. And as long as we're boat watching, is that a cruise ship? I think it is. That would mark 2 cruise ships that I've seen on this tour. Saw one pass through the channel in Campbell River a couple of vlog episodes ago. As we pull into Tsawwassen here, this marks the end of being on 10 ferries on this trip. We went to Langdale, to Powell River, back to the Gibsons area, back to Powell River, from there to Texada Island, back to Powell River a 3rd time, then over to Courtney, and then from Campbell River to Quadra, from Quadra back to Campbell River, and now back to the mainland. What an incredible trek that's taken place over the course of the last 3 weeks and then some. We're not even done with this tour, but we're done for the ferries portion. Back on the Tsawwassen side now, I'm really happy to be in somewhere I recognize, somewhere I'm more familiar with. And I've always thought it was crazy looking out at this long, long causeway that leads to the terminal, that when they were starting to do ferry trips around here, there wasn't anywhere suitable for ferries, because look at how far the tide goes in and out. It's such a gradual slope that I don't think it worked for pulling a ferry in, so they actually had to build this whole causeway. It's man-made. That must have been an incredible project. Must have taken forever. Need to look that one up. Alright, we're saying goodbye to Leenie after 23 days, but not really, because I'm picking you back up from here in 2 days to go to the interior.
Yeah, see you then, people.
But still, it's nice to be back in Maple Ridge, eh?
Yay!
Hooray!
Bye.
Oh, good Lord, I am home. Oh, it's nice to be back home, even if it is only for 2 nights. Feels good to be back. First time in just over 3 weeks. Fun fact, I'm such a sheltered little boy that this is the longest I've ever spent not out of this house. I did live in a different place for a year, but it's the longest time I've spent in a row outside of Maple Ridge. Isn't that weird? Really glad to be back here. It's cluttery, but it's mine. My record shelf. I have missed this baby. Seriously, even though I took a box of records on tour, I miss having the whole selection to choose from. My beautiful TV. Just everything. I wish I could take this room with me on the road. That would be amazing. That would be incredible. But yeah, glad to spend about a day and a half back at home before I head out. Leenie and I are driving to Salmon Arm on Wednesday. Going up to Salmon Arm for a coffee shop show at the Blue Canoe on Thursday, and then we're going to Kamloops, or then we're going to Kelowna and then Kamloops, and then coming back here sometime around this time next week. Around next Monday, I'll roll back into town, and then that Saturday, Leenie and I play in Whistler. Then we do a couple of radio interviews. So that's the tour from here on out. Tomorrow I've got a full day in Maple Ridge planned. I'm just going to do some fun, nostalgic stuff around town. Just, I'm going to meet up with friends. I got a family event I'm going to go to. Yeah, it's going to be a great day. Glad to be back in Maple Ridge, even if it is only for 2 nights. Back on the road Wednesday. Also, be sure to check the description down there for a full list of my tour dates. And you can also see everywhere that my music is sold or streamed online. Spotify, iTunes, pretty much anywhere. Yeah, feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want future updates for videos like I'm going to upload a new one tomorrow and every day for the foreseeable future of me on the road being a professional musician. It's been so much fun. It's kind of interesting. It feels like it's come full circle today coming back home. But yeah, I'm really glad. One of the things that's made this tour really special has been making this vlog and having like a 15-minute video to look back on every day of all the awesome stuff I did on tour that day. And so yes, thank you for watching, and catch the new episode tomorrow.